What's poppin', my Freeform Renegades? You are tuned into the Freeform Network. Thanks for joining us for another episode here at Freeform Radio. I'm your host, Noel, with my co-host today, Daniel.
Hell yeah, man. I'm in the hood here, man. It's kind of raining out here by me. I don't know if it's raining out by you, Noel, because they said it was like the northern counties that were gonna get hit with rain.
Can
So
you guys
not
hear me?
sure, not sure if you got hit with rain, Noel, but yeah, man, over here it's cool, man. It's not hot, so it's right on the spot, man. Just a little wet, but can't blame God for all of it, man.
Oh, no, for sure. It actually is raining over here a little bit. Definitely cloudy. I heard there's gonna be some storms today. Probably a good time to watch some horror movies. And we also have Andy here. I think I heard his voice there. Are you connected with us, Andy?
Thanks for waiting for the start, guys. You know the show couldn't go on without me. Yeah, I'm here. I was having some issues with my Skype.
Yeah,
Yeah.
allegedly user issues, but yeah,
I'm
we'll
pretty
settle them
sure it
out.
was something on our end and your guys' end, but it's
Yeah,
okay, man. The show must go on.
right.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm glad to have you here. It's another beautiful day here in Chicago, even though it is rainy. If we're living and we're good and we got our health, it's a beautiful day. So wherever your listeners are, we hope you're sitting cool, you're feeling good, and let's get rolling with this. So first, I want to toss it over to you, Daniel. It looks like you got to catch us up on some stuff you've been watching here. A lot of new movies that came out. So it looks like Free Guy is one of the ones you've seen.
Yeah, man, I saw that Free Guys. I actually had seen it before. I don't believe I've spoken about it on the podcast, but yeah, man, I rewatched it again because Junior was talking about it. He was like, "Hey, Daddy, I heard about this movie called Free Guys. We should really try to watch it." And I'm like, "Yeah, that cool. Let's watch the movie. I've already seen it, but it was actually pretty funny and okay." So I don't know if these guys have even watched it or even heard about it.
Yeah, I did like it, man. It had a cool concept of like a kind of a video game world. It's pretty nice. It's like imagine like GTA.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I think that's what intrigued him because he's played GTA Online before, and I don't know how he heard about it, but yeah, we watched it, and it definitely has that vibe, man. Like if you're playing a GTA game, and it makes you think if the AI is sentient and these non-playable characters, those characters that are just in the background, they're not part of the main story. Do they have any sentient sensations as they're in the game? So really cool premise, funny movie. It's got the guy from Deadpool. His name's eluding me, but Ryan something or other.
Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, right? But I thought it was pretty cool, man. Even the second watch around, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed watching it. Had you heard about that movie, Andy? Free Guys?
I think I just seen the trailer. I never really seen it, and it looked kind of from the trailers looked campy to me.
Right.
So I didn't know, like, I wasn't really feeling it. I just know had like a video game s type of feel and like kind of campy, and but I really didn't. I'm in like no rush to see it.
Yeah, I want to say it was a Netflix deal kind of thing. I'm not really sure who was the publisher and that good stuff, but I want to say it was like one of those, like new Netflix movies or Hulu movie or whatnot. But yeah, man, yeah, it was pretty cool to watch. Junior enjoyed it. Actually, Alana bowed down a little bit into it, because we had watched it kind of late in the day, and she's just like, "I'm sleepy, I'm going to bed," and me and Junior just stayed up and watched it, and yeah, man, it was cool watching it again, and Junior popped a few times because it reminded him of stuff in games, so definitely cool watch and definitely something cool to check out.
But do you
Uh,
recommend it then, or is it just like it's? I mean, is it video game master? What's the real quick? Like, what does he do? What's the point of the movie?
I mean, the movie is that you're playing like there's real life situations inside of a video game, so it's a sentient AI, like I mentioned. So yeah, it's a pretty cool premise. I think it's intriguing for people who play online gaming and who have curiosities about AI and if they're sentient or not. So It
because like
was a,
Ryan Reynolds, he's a literally a character in a game that is kind of just what is it called, the NPC, right? He's just a guy that does his regular routine every single day while other players play in the game and they do whatever they want, like they kill people
Okay.
or rob stuff,
Then it
and then
become
he becomes aware and he's like, what the fuck? Like
yeah.
I can control what I do, and it's pretty fun. It's a fun movie. It's not like a super serious one. It's definitely more on the comedy side, but it's got action. It's got, it's a good fun movie.
right, right. I thought that's what I said, but apparently Andy wasn't paying attention when I said it.
No,
But
well,
yeah, but when you said
essentially,
it,
an
Noel,
eye means who the
it
fuck
made more sense now that you said
is
it,
the
Noel.
Ryan Reynolds player a character that's being controlled, or like Noel kind of explained it better. Your
Right,
vague
right. No, for,
essentially, and I didn't really make
for
sense.
sure, for sure. No, Noel, when you said it, now even I got it when you said it, Noel.
So he's a
But
background character, and he noticed other people are playing, and he's like, "Hey,
right.
I'm something that." He became aware, like, "Hey, I can control my own shit," because he's just background. Like that makes more sense than.
It's cool, man. It's cool. I'm just jostling, man. You're on a time delay. We're catching up to to
I
the
think the
same
time
time.
delay is you with your vague words there.
All right, all right. But yeah, something else I watched. I watched that new movie, the Jurassic World Domain or Domination, or I forget what the name of it. The
Dominion.
Dominion is the new one. But yeah, we watched it, and that one was okay. I didn't pop as much. I'm not a huge Jurassic Park fan, but I know Alana is, so we went to watch it so she could check it out in the theaters and whatnot. Kind of here by the house. So it was a new theater that we wanted to check out, so we went to go look at it, and yeah, man, it was okay. I was expecting a little bit more. To me, it was a lot of like fanfare, kind of like pops where the nostalgia, they show the old characters meeting the new characters, they come together and they solve a problem. And I was really expecting, to be honest, like people to die. Like, I mean, these dinosaurs never kill any main characters. Like all these people miraculously survive. And I think if a dinosaur came up to my house, a Tyrannosaurus Rex, I'd be a goner. I don't think there would be a chance that I would be alive. So I don't understand how all these main characters always survive. And but yeah, other than that, I thought it was pretty good. There was a lot of nostalgia, uh, you know, points in the movie where you pop, you're like, oh, there's that part. It's kind of a throwback to the original. Oh, there's their part. It's a kind of throwback to the third movie. But yeah, it was good. I'm sure for Jurassic Park fans, they really enjoyed it, and I know Junior liked it. And I don't think he's a huge fan, but he enjoyed it. And Alana really was over the wall with it because she's a Jurassic Park fan. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have even watched it or seen the trailer for it.
You know, I when I saw it was coming out, I was kind of intrigued because I did like the previous two. Although I like the first one of the new series, I like the first Jurassic World better than the second one. But in all honesty, man, this stuff is kind of getting like it's getting the direction that a lot of movies are going in, where they focus more on the cameos and those little like moments to like draw a person in. It's kind of like a bait and switch. Like they trap you in this with the idea that like, oh, it's gonna be a great movie. It's got all the old characters too, but it's really just like a cameo, and it's not really, it doesn't hold up on its own. Like it's not a good plot sometimes. It's usually just like
Right.
a flimsy plot with a bunch of like cool moments in there. It reminds me of Doctor Strange when you had what's his name? Picard, what the fuck's his name? Professor Xavier.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, the Fantastic Four dude. It had all these cameos and it made people like that moment, but then the rest of the movie is kind of like bland. It's kind of like, well, it's whatever, mediocre. The same thing with Ghostbusters. It kind of reminded me of that when you said that the old meets the new. That's kind of how it happened in Ghostbusters. At the very end, you get to see the old Ghostbusters meet, I guess, the new
Right.
young,
The new generation. Right.
yeah, the Stranger Things Ghostbuster, because that's what it is, man. It's like Stranger Things, but in Ghostbusters world, and so I'm imagining Jurassic World Dominion is probably going to be similar. It's going to be just okay movie, nothing special with some cool cameos. That's what I'm expecting.
Right. Right. Yeah, it did have that feel for it, but maybe it's just the material because for Ghostbusters, I thought it kind of worked, but I know a lot of people were kind of shitting on it. Um, so I don't know. It's weird because I'm not a huge Jurassic Park fan, so that kind of stood out to me. But in Ghostbusters, I dug it because I'm more of a Ghostbusters fan. So maybe it's more to if it's your genre kind of thing and you kind of feel that movie in that way. And where since Alana really digs it, she really liked that part of the movie, and where I was just like, the plot's kind of thin. It's more of just like hitting these like beat moments and then having that nostalgia kind of pull on your heartstrings, because it's like these old characters with these new generation guys. So yeah,
Exactly.
it was still good nonetheless. But I gotta say, I am a fan of Doctor Strange and stuff, but the way everybody keeps talking about it, I'm not really in a big hurry to watch it. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm a big enough Doctor Strange fan to enjoy that part if it does have a lot of that, where it's a thin plot, where it's just more just like these pop moments and that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
I was gonna say there's times where it seems like one specific gender is looking at like they're putting this like spotlight where they suck. Like this one gender sucks and this other gender is awesome. And it's
Oh my
just like
god.
okay, it's like all right, yeah, I guess I don't know. That's what they're gonna do.
Yeah. You were gonna say Andy?
so yeah, going back to Jurassic Park, I do notice the latest trilogy because this is the third one in the recent years with Chris Pratt.
Right.
I think those are more geared toward to women. I mean, I watched the first one. I haven't seen the second one or the third one, and I'm just like, I mean, it was just all right. It wasn't like awesome. Like the first Jurassic Park was really awesome. This one wasn't. And then like I feel even my wife's like, I want to see the Jurassic Park the latest one, and I was just like, I'm not feeling it. And the other thing too, I've read some of the reviews like it wasn't great, and then it was kind of felt flat. And the other concern I have is like when I was talking about with the current Hollywood with the let's shit on what worked and let's put somebody else in there that's preferably the opposite sex, and then they're like, this is the new real fucking hero, and like you're pissing off like 90% of your audience. Um, So I mean, it is what it is, but yeah, I'm in no rush to see it. Like, and you're noticing like this past summer, the movies that have made that made some money, it wasn't really none of this the woke stuff like Top Gun and Elvis and all that other stuff that have been decent. I mean, it's been far and few between, but it wasn't like over the politicized like their uh political comments like in your face and shit. People just want to go escape and watch a movie, and that's why you're kind of seeing what's going on at Warner Brothers. I don't know if you guys read up on that. With they're just shelving movies that were made that they're like, this is just too
Also,
woke.
they're like complete and everything.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
did you hear
Batgirl.
about Batgirl? It's like it was in post
Oh.
production,
Hmm.
and the new owners of Warner Brothers is like, this movie is never going to see the light of day. This is garbage.
Wow, I did see something about Batgirl, Warner Brothers, and then it had like money going downwards on some like screen capture thing, but I didn't read the article. I didn't know what the hell it was about.
So
But wow,
basically, they got new owners, Discovery, and the guy he wants to make DC like this. You go to the movies and
multiverse.
watch it. Yeah, multiverse, like this latest trend. And like I read that the rumors leaked out that Michael Keaton makes an appearance as Batman, and in the movie they fucking kill him, and that she's replacing Batgirl replaces Batman, and then she's gonna be in all the plans was to have her in all the future DC movies as Batman, that woman.
Right, because
And
Ben Affleck is done, right?
no, they re-signed Ben Affleck recently
Oh, really? Oh, nice.
to, I think, to replace Keaton. I don't fucking know the full details. It's just a mess, but that was one of the things going out. And then they were gonna replace Superman with a black Superman, and like they were gonna kill him or something. I don't know. It's just like all these rumors are coming out, and they're just gonna start from scratch. That's what it sounds like. And like the thing with
Oh,
the Flash, they might just reshoot that whole movie because the new star's having his own issues, and they're scared that the movie's gonna tank big time and to put a lot of money into it.
wow, wow, man. Whew. That's some crazy stuff.
I
You know,
mean,
it's funny that you guys even mention stuff like that because I'm not ready to really talk about it too much because I'm still got a few episodes to go, but I'm watching Picard season 2 and I'm almost done. And an episode that I watched just this morning, the thought popped in my head because I realized that Picard's crew is totally opposite from Next Generation. He only has one guy in his crew, and then there's four female characters in his like cast of crew. And where Next Generation, it was like the opposite, man. There was just like it was dominated by male characters, and then there was just one or two main female characters. So
but
it really does like kind of flip it. And it got me thinking, I'm like, is this a woke thing? And I kind of try to push it out of my head because I didn't want to think about it in that sense, and I wanted to judge it for what it is. But yeah, that thought did cross my head in today's episode.
so real quick, and like I never watched Picard. I know my wife was kind of watching. I wasn't. So and those four different characters or the people he works with, is like Picard the leader, and are they questioning him or they're just all working together?
I mean, it's on and off. I'm not really ready to talk about the plot of Picard because I'm still watching the final couple episodes. But yeah, I just noticed that when I was watching it today, that it popped in my head. I'm like, is this a woke thing, or or what's going on? I hope this isn't like an agenda being pushed down my throat kind of thing. But for now, I'm kind of pushing it to the side so I could just judge it on its merits. But I'll probably have more to say on our next recording because I'm sure I'll be done with it by then.
Okay.
But Mr. Noel, man, why don't we jump to you over here? Why don't you tell us about you working on your comic book that you're talking about? I know you've dropped hints before that you've been getting that itch to get back into it. How's the progress going?
It's actually going pretty good, man. So I have a character myself that I want to publish and get a comic book for him. But since right now I'm trying to get the story done and I'm trying to get somebody that can draw it, I'm working with a few artists. My brother Afrin and his friend Raphael. They're both artists, and as well as my nephew Christian, he's an artist as well, and so they're all going to be working on their own individual comics, and I'm finding a way to help them write their stories as well as introduce my character into their stories, so that way, I can get some exposure from my character, meanwhile, having them draw their characters and express the story I'm trying to build here in the world that I'm trying to build. And so the comic book company right now, what we're trying to call it, is just essentially our initials arranged in a certain order, so it sounds, relatively easier to pronounce. So we went with Cern Comics, CERN, like the Super Collider,
Right.
and so hopefully it's not like a copyright issue. I don't think it will be because it's two very different things. But that's the working title right now is Cern Comics. And yeah, we've been working on an outline for Ralph's comic, Raphael. His character Crusher Cole is one of the characters he's going to go with. And so I wrote a story for him, and I introduced my character in it throughout that first story. And so right now it's pretty good, man. It's actually it's gonna be a pretty big book, but I think the way we're gonna do it, there's a few websites that we can upload all this stuff on, and I think that's the route we're gonna go before we, pay money to print it out and try to sell it that way. So we're gonna probably try to do these things called webtoons. There's a few websites that people do that. It's a website for archiving comics, a website called Webtoons. There's a website called Comic Fury, and we're probably gonna put some stuff up on social media as well, just to kind of expose, get as much exposure as we can, and of course, using Freeform Network to get the word out there would be awesome as well. But we're still very much in the early stages. We're writing some stuff right now. Like I said, I did the outline for the first, I guess you could say, three-part series, It's going to be a whole arc dealing with the mob, dealing with corruption in the city, um, dealing with the loss of family and growing up on your own, and dealing with some heavy themes, finding a father figure that you never had, and then having that person go through a struggle that gets you to finally face the problems in the city and the corruption in the city. And so, yeah, that's kind of the direction we're going in. I'm excited, man. I've been writing a lot more than I have in the last couple of years, and in this last, I would say, month and a half, I've been writing just a lot more. So it's great, dude. Like, I love to write. I've been doing it my whole life. I guess I could say, since I knew how to write. Um, but being able to do it with decades of experience, reading other comics and watching all this, all the movies and shows that I've seen, it really gets me in this ability to be able to make something original while getting influence from many, many different things.
Yeah, man, that's cool that you're using like this passion that you've had for comics, anime, video games, and whatnot, and you're kind of focusing it into something that you have a strong skill set on and in writing. Well, I say strong skill set because there's been nothing that has really been published, but you do have a passion for writing. So hopefully it comes to fruition and it comes out to something really positive. Now, what's the like the is this like a sci-fi, a thriller? Is this a horror? Is this a crime detective thing? What's like the genre you would probably categorize it under?
I would say it's probably like a superhero fantasy drama,
Okay.
because there will be it's like kind of like Marvel, I guess you could say. Like we're gonna be competing with Marvel, DC, Image, all
Oh
that.
man, your own universe. Oh shit.
Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna be doing I'm gonna go into magic as well. So it's not gonna be just super powered humans or mutants. There's gonna be magic, kind of like Doctor Strange, but I'm gonna do it on on a low level that builds gradually, like kind of like Dragon Ball Z. Uh,
Constantine,
Constantine.
of
Actually,
DC.
there will be. I don't want to give any spoilers ahead, but like, so I already did the timeline for my character. I did the timeline for the whole universe, beginning to end, and now I'm just trying to fill it in with stuff. And Ralph's comic is going to be the start of that, and so my character, he's going to be dealing with stuff that has to do with magic, that has to do with superpowers, that has to do with aliens and space, that has to do with heaven and hell, things like that, in alternate dimensions. It's going to be going in a wide range of different directions over the course of, well, honestly, I have enough that I could write for a decade, if I really
Wow.
choose to. It could be like a 100 issue, 1,000 issue. It really all depends on what I fill it in. But I essentially have all the plot points, all the different arcs already in my mind, and I have it written down finally as an outline. And at this point, it's like now I just got to fill it in. And imagine you have all these empanadas. You're like, all right, I have a dozen empanadas. Now I just got to fill it in with the filling and fill them up. But they're all essentially there. The bread is there. Now I just got to fill it in with that good stuff.
So let me ask you this, Noel. I mean, imagine if you guys are gonna digitally like just throw it out there.
And the,
Is there a lot of platforms where you could do that and like people like 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 videos and everything? And is YouTube? There's something like that for like on the comic book type of scale. Is like a platform you just throw it on there and people get to see it.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, Efren uses this thing called Comic Fury, and it's a pretty cool website. It gets some traffic. It's not like the biggest name. It's not like something that everyone's gonna know about, but the people that are in the industry will know about it, and so it's gonna get some eyes on it. But I was telling these guys, Christian, Efren, and Ralph, I was telling them that the more exposure we get, the better it's going to be. And I eventually want to do a YouTube channel that's going to be separate from this, but that I'll be able to use as kind of a platform to, market it and get people's attention into it. Because on YouTube, there's a lot of people that do, that thing. I just mentioned in our last episode that Eric July started his company, and he started a YouTube channel originally
Right.
about comics, and then he got a following about the comics, about video games, all that, until he eventually published his book. And the guy's making over 3 million now. He's in revenue. So how much profit, I don't really know, but he's being pretty transparent about it. He specifically said that was one thing he wanted to do is be transparent and let people know what's going on and all that and how much money is going into it and all that. So right now money's tight for us, so we're going to be looking at the most cost effective option, which is going to be the digital route. But eventually we do want to have it so that we can, print out in paper copy and distribute that, make posters, make all that stuff, the merchandise. And it actually kind of leads me into what I was going to talk about next is I want to do a podcast that goes on, Freeform Network to kind of you just add more flavor to it. Um, we already talk about pop culture, but I think I want to do something that focuses more on the comic book end. And so that would include, like people like artists like Afrin and Ralph that could talk about the comic book side of it, how they draw and, all the stuff that's going on in the world right now. Because I think there's been a lot of change in the last 5, 10 years with comics, and especially the comic book conventions. I remember used to be a highlight of the year whenever I would go with you guys to Wizard World. It was such an awesome day that I look forward to, and I haven't been there in a long, long time because it's lost its charm. It's become more about it took the Hollywood route versus originally it was about that that feel of reading a comic and getting into the world and not having to be all this political stuff. So, anyway, I'm thinking about doing this podcast. We're still working on the name. I think we have it down to what we're going to call it, but I don't want to say too much yet. We're still going to work on it, and hopefully, if you guys are down too, maybe you guys could, have a couple episodes with us or appear when you have a chance to talk about stuff like this.
Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely, man.
Oh, sounds very exciting. I do know comic books. There are those geeks or whatever you want to call them that have those niche and they're real passionate, just like wrestling fans, where if they dig something that's out there, they'll consume it and they'll consume anything related to it. So, no, for sure, man. If you get passionate fans behind what you're doing, I'm sure they'll follow.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, obviously we're gonna have to do a lot of planning. Coming up with all the stuff, the intro, outro, all that good stuff. But yeah, we're gonna be working on it, and I'm excited to see what we can add to Freeform Network. And
Yeah, and real quick, going back to like you said, what happened to Wizard World and all that fiasco, they went through some financial troubles and here in the Midwest, and but they were Wizard World for a while was like huge. It was all across the country, and they ran into financial issues way before the pandemic, and I think it got sold out and stuff. And then the new C2E2, which is the time of this recording, it was just this weekend. But I really didn't see a lot of people talking about it on social media. Usually,
yeah, I
like
don't even
there's a
know.
big buildup, and for like this year, I don't know, coming out of the pandemic, I didn't like there was no hype or anything around it. That's
That's
so
strange, man.
yeah, it was kind of strange, and they were having like some wrestlers there, usually like on some Facebook groups on the wrestling community, and there was like just very little talk about it. I mean, and I was just like, wow, like you said, it just kind of fell off. That whole
Yeah,
community
dude.
from the comics and the route that happened with Wizard World T2E2 is trying to be more comic, but also they a lot of pop culture, a lot of TV stuff, and I think just comics is like it's just like in the background.
It's unfortunate, man, because it's what it's the reason why there's all those shows and stuff. Like comic book influenced all those TV shows that eventually came out, and yeah, it's a shame, but well, let's see if we can ever revive it. If, I had no idea C2E2 was even this weekend.
It was
Like
this weekend, yeah.
that's
That's
crazy, man.
what I'm saying. There's nothing on it like on the communities that I follow, and there's wrestling and some pop culture stuff and some convention stuff, and like everybody on my feed, it was just I didn't even see like any ads or anything. I think the only one I saw because so many I know in wrestling went there to meet a wrestler and he posted some pics of it, and I'm like, oh shit, C2E2 is this weekend. Like I didn't even know. It was just like it was a complete shock.
Yeah, I mean, once we get our book going, maybe next year I'll try to sign up for a desk or one of those tables. at one of those conventions and see what happens. But yeah, that's crazy, man. Well, yeah, one last thing I wanted to share. I watched this old show that I think you guys watched way back in the 90s. I'm not sure if you did, but
Way
Lois and
back in the
Clark.
90s. You're old,
Yeah,
man.
dude. 30 years, dude. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But yeah, this is a 30-year-old show, Lois and Clark: The New Superman Adventures. Do
Yeah,
you guys remember this
I
show?
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
It was on
Yes.
ABC.
Yeah, dude. I had the urge to watch it after I finished Superman and Lois, and I was like, yeah, let me watch Lois and Clark because they released a 1080p version of it, and I was like, dude, I gotta check it out. And it's been so long since I've seen it. I haven't seen it since I was like a kid, like 5 years old or whatever, watching it with Daniel or whatever. And yeah, dude, it was brought back a lot of good memories. Freaking Perry White, rest in peace. He was a good actor, man. And Dean Cain, Terry Hatcher, and then how the season 1 to season 2 they replaced like a bunch of characters. Like Jimmy Olsen was a different guy, and they got rid of that hooker girl that worked at the newspaper. What's her name? She just was always like
What?
scandalous. Yeah, she wasn't a hooker, but like she might as well have been like a stripper. She was always wearing like this leopard print shit in the first season, and always hitting on Clark, trying to like get him in bed. And I was like, damn, dude, this was rough on that first season.
I think they call her flamboyant, man. They
Seductive, I mean,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, the first two seasons I gotta say were like solid. I really enjoyed it. Season 3 and 4 weren't bad. It's just I could see why they canceled after season 4. I think they just didn't know what else to do. Like they kind of ran out of stories, and you could see the quality was like not diminishing, but it was like not the same as the first two seasons that were really strong. They kind of focused more on the romance, and which is fine, but it just didn't have enough to back it up like the first two seasons did. And I don't know how much you guys remember about it, but since it's so fresh in my head, I just remember the first seasons with Lex Luthor were freaking awesome. Like it was really fun to watch. And the later seasons it got more like I guess comical sometimes.
I just remember Lex Luthor. Like I didn't really watch it religiously. It was always like I just remember Lex Luthor had like really good hair, didn't he? He wasn't bald, right?
In the beginning, yeah,
Yeah,
and then
right.
and then he eventually did go bald.
And then like I just remember the town looked Metropolis looked like kind of small townish, but I recall and like that's all I really remember, and I never watched it on a regular basis.
Yeah, in the first season, I actually saw a backdrop of Chicago, and that's like it got me to watch it more. I was like, oh shit, like he's flying in Chicago, but I mean, obviously it's Metropolis, but they used because I could see like the buildings, and I could see that one building that has it's like a diamond shaped lights.
Yeah,
Uh, so
the
when I saw
Hancock.
that, I was, is that what that is? The
No, not
Hancock?
the Hancock. It's I can't think. I know which one you're talking. It's not the Hancock though.
Yeah, but it's like a diamond light.
Yeah, the diamond like flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, "Oh shit, this is Chicago, dude!" And I looked it up, and I guess they filmed in different areas, but they used like the backdrop of the city of Chicago for some of the flying scenes.
Yeah, like I said, I just don't remember, and I remember like Metropolis looked like small to me. Like this doesn't feel like a big city or something. Like, and Lex Luthor having hair, and then I remember people were talking about how Lewis and Clark they hooked up like really early or something. Like they should have waited or dragged it out or something. That's all I remember.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
was like the third season.
yeah. They've had some good Superman like TV series.
Yeah, I would have loved to see a Batman series like that, but yeah, unfortunately, it was not around really. It's just the animated stuff for Batman. That was my favorite character, but Superman's awesome too. It was cool to watch it.
Well, you got the Adam West one. That's a TV series.
I guess. Yeah, I've never seen it. It was just a little too PG for me.
The
Versus,
'60s Batman.
Well, I
yeah.
mean, it was a TV series, like a live action one.
Man, he had Batman had bitches up the ass in those shows. And they had a
That
lot of, you're talking about cameras. They had a lot of famous movie stars from the '60s and that series. I think it only lasted like 3 seasons or something. But yeah, there's a lot of cameos in that thing.
It'd probably be cool to watch maybe after like a blunt or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you something you don't take serious, but yeah.
I forget what TV network it's on, but yeah, I watched like the first 5 episodes to just kind of get a feel for it, to remember it, and it's got its place. It's got its place to watch. Definitely not something I could probably binge all 40 episodes or however many they are, but just to watch it on a whim, I think it's a good watch.
Yeah, definitely, man.
And it had a theatrical movie, so it was popular.
Yeah, those old shows, they had their time, and it was good for the time, I would say. I just don't know if it holds up now. But Superman and or Lois and Clark, it held up fairly decently, considering. And what I liked about it, just I'll finish up on this, is that it really reminded me of the era that I grew up in, which was the '90s, and it brought back that feeling pre-internet, where internet was just starting out, but it didn't like ruin your life yet with all this social media. So like it was nice to be able to remember those times. You had to go to a payphone where you didn't have just a constant smartphone and like blinking lights in front of you all day.
Speaking of Noel, real, I was watching an old episode of MTV True Life. It was like just when the internet was like taking off, and then like a lot they were talking about like people who just don't leave their houses or whatever, or they're just like focused on one thing, and they're always like, yeah, basically I just wake up and eat breakfast, and then I go to my computer and just surf the internet all day, or the World Wide Web, and I'm just like, this is so fucking weird. And they had like this huge monitor. They got their mouse and shit, and they're just like going to web page after web page. I'm just trying to find all the details on this and that. It was something about Star Wars, like episode 2, and I was just like, wow, man, that seems like a long fucking time ago.
Yeah.
Just waking up to go and you go to your computer just to go on web pages like on your big fucking CRT monitor.
What was big back then también was the message boards.
Yes,
Because I
the group
remember
chats. Yeah.
when Internet Movie Database first came out, the internet was brand new. I had a computer and I would go on Internet Movie Database. IMDb is now what it's called. But back when it was first out, it was all mainly text. They would be message boards about the newer movies coming out, superhero stuff and all that. Back when like Blade was coming out and all that. But anyway, yeah, that's all I had to share. So let's get it over to you, Andy, and take a little change in pace here. So yeah, what do you think about this Brittney Griner being sentenced to 9 years in Russian prison?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you seen on it. I just remember, I know it's been in the news lately, but I mean, I don't know if you guys know who she is or you're aware of this story at all.
No,
So
I watched real basketball.
Well, apparently she's a real athlete, man. She can dunk sometimes. So,
Oh, she can't dunk at my house, man.
oh shit. So, but yeah, so it's this WNBA star. She was playing in Russia to supplement her income, and then so I'm still not sure if she brought there's the Russians. She got arrested in Russia because she was coming back home, or yeah, uh, she was. It says for bringing cannabis into the country. So I'm not sure what that means. Because I'm also hearing that she had like vape stuff. Um, I
it was like
don't.
cannabis oil or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that she had cannabis oil, and they caught her when she was flying back
yeah,
home. Is when they caught her.
that's yeah. So she was coming back home, and then they hear on this article I'm reading on ESPN, they're saying cannabis, but they're not saying like they didn't find her like with fucking a nickel bag. It's but in the news, some of the other news I've heard that yeah, it was like some type of vape cartridge or something like that, and she pleaded guilty and she got 9 years, which it's kind of harsh. And then with the Russians invading Ukraine, it just kind of like she's kind of not screwed, but well, she's screwed, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. I have like mixed feelings about this. Like, I feel like well, I know she's being unjustly uh, confined and like arrested in prison for, I think, the rest of Europe. I don't think is this serious about it. Um, to get like 9 years, and they fined her something like $16,000. And now, like, since the WNBA is kind of starting up, they're all like, this is serious and shit. But Americans here are like, this is bullshit. They should let us go. And that's like, I feel like one of the problems with Americans is when you go to other countries, they're not as lax about certain things as we are here. And I think sometimes when we travel, Americans forget that, and they think because we're citizens, we'll just get off or uh, just get like some type of fucking deal. So
Yeah, they act
I,
like we have diplomatic immunity.
yeah, and what they offered the this current administration, the president offered like this fucking guy that's been doing 25 years for selling arms or something to like terrorists or something.
Yeah, like some Russian espionage guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So for a fucking basketball player, I'm just like, wow, that's very one sided. And then of course you Russians said, nah, we're not doing that. So it just seems to see like they're playing hardball just to be dicks. But I don't know, man. It just I feel it doesn't feel right. That's all I know. But also like you're in another country, like what the fuck do you got like any type of drugs? You're like if you get caught, you could get screwed severely.
To me, I think what needs to be seen is because, yeah, obviously she's a big NBA star or WNBA star, but I think what we need to see is if all crimes similar to this in Russia are judged in the same way, or is she getting a harsher sentence because of detention between the U.S. and Russia right now? And my guess would be that they judge this on all their stuff. Maybe it's a little harder just because of all the issues, but I got a feeling that not everybody is as lax with weed as the U.S. is, or has been in recent years, because in recent years they're making it legal all over the place, and where it used to be a crime. You used to get arrested for having just like a dime bag, and you used to get taken to jail. And now I drive sometimes, and you'll get a whiff of weed in the air, and you're like, people are just smoking out in public. It's like not a big deal anymore, and it's so different when I was growing up, and where if you did occasionally smoke, you had to kind of be discreet about it. So it's different. You're in a different country. You have to respect our laws and not just expect that you can do whatever the heck you want.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, man. Uh, I've heard a lot of different people's takes on this. It's become very popular subject right now. It's trendy, I guess you could say. A lot of popular people are talking about it. Joe Rogan, recently this morning, actually, before I got on the podcast, I heard his opinion on it. And while he doesn't think it's fair, he doesn't think it's fair for anyone to get arrested for marijuana. And he focused on how the U.S. still to this day has many people in jail for multiple years for marijuana. And he's like, why aren't they getting out? Why aren't people trying to get them out of jail? Why are they only focusing on this person? Because she can fucking throw a basketball in a hoop? Is that why? And he's like, and then they brought up another case of the similar thing. It was like a school teacher from the US went to Russia, and he got caught like trying to smuggle in like marijuana or something like that. And it's similar, very similar thing. And he's going to jail for like 14 years or something like that. And nobody's saying shit because he doesn't play basketball. So, there's a lot of people talking about like how there's a lot of hypocrisy, trying to get Brittney Griner out of jail, and when there's all these other people also suffering for the same, um, crime, I guess, unjust crime.
Right. No, I agree, man. I, if I remember right, when this first happened, when she got arrested, I think she had like man, this ain't nothing, just get me out of here kind of thing. And so I think it was a problem where she was kind of like, kind of like that, having that feeling like, I'm owed this, what's the problem kind of thing. So I'm not sure why she's acting surprised that she's being judged this harsh.
Well, I think it's the article to say it's a miscarriage of justice, but you're right, Dan. You did make a valid point. Like, is for the amount that she caught, what is the normal like sentence, or is it just a fine if these tensions weren't there? Because you know, I think that's a valid point, but I think they are making an example out of her. And the other thing I'm shocked that I haven't heard anywhere in the mainstream media is they're not calling the Russians like racist or bigoted or anything like that, because and then she's a female, so because she's she's African American, she's a woman, and she's gay, and nobody here in the U.S. is making those accusations that that's the reason that she just got stopped, because Russia's very anti-gay, Putin's regime anyway. So I don't know, and her lawyers did say that she doesn't really say much. She just stays quiet, and she's, to me, I'm pretty sure she's fucking terrified. Like, you're in a foreign country, you're used to being in the U.S., and you got a due process and all this other shit in there. She's been there for 6 months, and then she just pleaded guilty, and she gets who knows if they promised her anything, but she got 9 fucking years for cannabis cartridges.
I mean, it's rough, man. She's gonna be living the real life. Orange is the new black.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's I feel it's like it is somewhat of an injustice. Like, here you see people get released all the time for like just like some severe shit, and like they get away with, I mean, not murder, but there's a lot of things where it's very serious and they can post bail and they're out in like a matter of days. And over there, I don't know like what the case is, or what the due process in Putin's Russia right now, but it's not good for Brittney, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to get resolved anytime soon.
And then we got the president with the way he is, with his people questioning his mind lately. So we'll see. And the other thing is, people like, I was like, if Trump was in office, what would they be saying? Or if he got her out, they would be like, see, he has a relationship with him. Like told you he's bought by the Russians and all this other bullshit. But not to make it too political, but let us know what you guys think at ffnquestions@gmail.com. If you should get 9 years for having cannabis cartridges, or she should have just stuck with the flavored ones like apple and peaches and shit.
Maybe if she tells Putin, "Hey man, I'll play on your basketball team in Russia and lessen my my jail sentence, man."
I want to know, the only thing everybody's like, what was she doing in Russia? Well, she was getting paid by a basketball league in Russia to play for that team. What they haven't said is how much she got paid. That's the only thing I'm not aware of. And then she's like, but she's a star in the WNBA and shit, and like, but apparently like the pay's not that high. But I don't know. And people are like, see, they should get paid more, the WNBA. And I think Bill Burr just recently, it kind of went viral, is because they're women, or what the hell you say? Nobody wants to see women
failed. He's like, women failed the WNBA, because he was saying how they don't watch it, and it's like, you're all talking about people should watch it, but you don't even watch it. He's like,
there's
you're
nobody
telling me
in the stands. Yeah.
He's like, how did he say it? He's like, I gotta go and check out if there's like an axe murder in the middle of the night. I gotta pay for the restaurants. I gotta watch WNBA too. He's like, when are you gonna pick up your end of the couch?
Yeah, I saw him trending. He's like, something, Bill Burr says women failed the WNBA. I'm like, what? And then like and I read like an article. He went on a rant that, like he said, like, there's nobody going to see the games. There's nobody watching the games. And people are like, they should get paid more. Like, well, people ain't even watching. Why do we got to give them more money? Like, this is just like a failed league or something.
Yeah.
But, this, with Brittney Griner and Russia, we'll see. I'll keep tabs on it and just give my 2 cents on it. On this cannabis cartridges shit, and see. I have a feeling it should be out by end of the year. They'll do something, but that's gonna take us into our article of the week. So we're back in Putin's Russia. I found this interesting article. It was kind of trending when we talked discussed what we were going to talk about in this episode. Russia says they're losing in Ukraine because Ukraine has experimental mutant troops created in secret biolabs. So this is on the Daily Beast. That's a new take for you're losing a war. Why couldn't you win, generals? They're fucking mutants, man.
And it says here, Andy, spoilers, mutant ninjas, man.
Oh, shit. So this guy, like the name of this deputy speaker of Russia's Federation Council, Konstantin Kosachev, and Irina Yerovoya, deputy chair of the State Duma. Testing Ukraine's POW's blood, they claimed uncovered a range of diseases that suggested were secretly experimented for military purposes. And we see the cruelty and the barbarity of and with which the military personnel of Ukraine behaved, the crimes that they commit against the civilian population, those monstrous crimes that they commit against prisoners of war confirm that their system of control and creation of cruel murder machine was implemented under the management of the United States. Those performing enhancing drugs, PEDs, they were given in order to comply to neutralize the last traces of human consciences and turned them into the most cruel and deadly monsters. Also confirmed this, she claimed. So they're giving steroids and that turned them into mutants. Maybe they're right. I don't know. Like, well, I'm shocked. So now if you're a prisoner of war, they take your blood to see what the fuck's up with you. If you're like on drugs or something, or you got diseases.
Andy, how could this be true? How could they give this to their guys, but then hate weed? I mean, we just talked about the Brittney Griner thing. So they're against weed, but they're cool with pumping their guys up with steroids. So steroids
according
is
to
cool?
Rocky IV, that documentary, they were giving Drago a lot of fucking PEDs, man.
Oh, that's right. They were shooting him up like while he was running the treadmill.
Rocky IV documentary, yes. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I see all these articles on Putin. His people are leaving his side. Now they're throwing out that they're fucking mutants. But in all seriousness, do you think they are giving them something? I'm pretty sure the military gives their soldiers something to keep awake, or sometimes, we all know about the vaccines or some shots that were given during Desert Storm, the initial one that made people sick, and there was something during the Iraq War too that they were giving people shots that made them kind of fucked up. Like, it's always been like hinted that they give, and they cloud it as some type of vaccine or something, or some type of vitamin shots, but who knows what they're really giving them.
Yeah, I mean, I think even in World War II, the Nazis and I think even the Russians, like they experimented with like meth or something like that, or some kind of drug that gave them like,
Damn.
yeah, something methamphetamines that gave them like this burst of energy, would keep them awake for multiple days and focused and all that. And then I remember hearing one story about a guy that tweaked out for like a month on meth, and then he woke up and the war was over or some shit like that. It's like,
I don't remember Colonel Klink being on meth. I know nothing, but yeah, I mean, bring it back a little bit to all seriousness. Do you think you think they give them something, right? Some type of PED, some type of steroid, They're giving something before they actually get deployed.
More than likely, I think that's very possible. Yeah.
I think that's any kind of army. I mean, before we send our army overseas, they give them every vaccine that there's available of things that you might get. If you're going over to Africa, let's say, they're going to give you the bubonic plague vaccine that they have or whatever, because maybe it's more rampant over there than it is here. So they're going to give you whatever they think is necessary.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they give them something. The other thing that kind of shocked me was so do every prisoner of war, they just randomly, or they all take blood tests from them to see what the fuck's going on? Like, that's another thing. I was kind of shocked to read that, and I was just like, well, how do they know? Like, we found they have this, and this, or Are they trying to find out if they deployed something, if they could see there's evidence that's in their bloodstream? That's what I'm thinking about. Um, to me, that's rather shocking. I've never really heard that before, so that's why I'm kind of like, or they suspect something. The Russians are suspecting something that like Ukraine, with the help of Biden, they're up to something. Like I don't know.
There is a lot of conspiracy theories about stuff going on in the Ukraine that the U.S. is responsible for.
Well, they have
Uh,
labs there, right? And then
yeah,
the article says the head scientist for the government, he has dual citizenship in Ukraine and America.
Whoa.
So that was like, ooh, like there's like a little nugget of fucking info, right? Like, I don't know, maybe the Russians are right or something like that. But to me, that was like, okay, because even Trump said like Ukraine's like super corrupt. There's a lot of shit you can do there with money. Um, so
yeah. I heard
that's that.
conspiracies even involving the religions, like the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Christians and stuff like that. And it's crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, and like the other raid, going back to the war thing here, like I'm shocked that uh President Biden keeps talking about, we're gonna give them all this shit to defend themselves, to stand up against Russia. But with the Chinese and Taiwan, how Pelosi just flew over. And I think like in the last month or month and a half, Biden gave remarks. He goes, if China invades, we are gonna respond military, like with military, and like, that's not like a direct fucking. It's quoted that they will respond with the military, and I'm like, he'll help the Taiwan people, but he won't help like Ukraine. And Ukraine was begging to be in fucking NATO, and that's in Eastern Europe and all this shit. I just like I'm getting like mixed messages here. Like I don't know. I don't know. I guess maybe the U.S. is trying to get like a stronghold in there or something. Like I don't fucking know. I'm not sure the deep uh, uh, economics and like strategy of having like Taiwan as a base compared to fucking NATO or Ukraine, who's right next to Russia and would be perfect to be a NATO ally.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. They don't want us to know. That's why they always bring up some new trendy shit to try to get us to be distracted by what's really going on. Because those are all good questions. Why are they doing the things they're doing over there across the world? And we might never know unless we like, get like an inside source or something. But yeah, you see like whenever something like this big happens, they'll always try to find something else to distract you, like some racial stuff that's going on in the US or some school stuff going on or a shooting or whatever. Just something to get you to pivot and look away from the stuff that's going on across the world. But there's definitely some shady shit going on, dude.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think the U.S. for the most part, they like having a foothold in as many places as they can in case the shit hits down. They got somebody kind of nearby to do something.
And the other thing in China, the economic thing with their housing market or whatever, it's not really being talked about here in the United States. But if you go on YouTube and the news stuff in China, I mean, I know I've been hearing it for like the last year, but uh, the housing market is like it's a big fucking that thing's ready to collapse. Like the Chinese people, a lot of them are protesting and they're not paying their mortgages because the government and the contractors haven't built their homes. They told them, you know, get this house or this property really cheap and start paying your mortgage immediately. Then we'll build it as we go. And then the pandemic hit, and then like they haven't really built anything, and it's been like 3 years, and they're telling them we'll still pay your mortgage. I'm like, why am I paying my mortgage if I'm not getting what I ordered? Like it's been like 3 fucking years, and a lot of the Chinese people are starting to protest the banks and the government. Like they're sending tanks and shit. Like nobody's really talk about it, and they're talking about they're like behind on like 300,000 projects, and like that equals to something like 7 billion a month or something. Like it's gonna be a big fucking issue coming up. I think for the Chinese economy, and hopefully they doesn't get fuck them up too much with the manufacturing, because that's the world's factories. Everybody imports shit from China, so it's gonna be interesting seeing how that situation develops.
Yeah, definitely right now is a lot of like developments going on, and I don't know if you've heard much about a conspiracy theory called the Great Reset.
Yes.
So, did you ever hear about the stones? There's guide stones that tell how humanity should be living and how the population should be and all
In
that.
Georgia, yeah.
Yeah, and they got destroyed, which kind of signals to me that there's going to be some kind of revolution going on worldwide, you know? And you could see it happen in different pockets of the world. There's the Dutch farmers right now that were
Yeah,
trying to
that's another one.
negotiate.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were trying to negotiate with the government about, keeping their land and all that. And the government's like, nah, we're
They
going to get
shot
rid of
at
your
him.
land.
Yeah, they mowed him down or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, nobody's really talking about that either. It was like a blurb here in the United States.
Oh,
But yeah, it was like a big thing in like in Europe. Like the government like just mowed down some farmers that are like on tractors and shit because they were
yeah.
protesting what they I don't know, the pay, or they're trying to kick them off their land, or they were telling them to do stuff and they don't want to do it.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
trying to kick them off their land and give it to
yeah,
refugees, or that's
yeah.
what they're saying. That's what they're saying they're going to do. I don't know what they're going to do, but and then I heard headlines about China's economy, like you were saying, like, and I hear headlines that their economy is going to collapse. It's on the verge of collapse. Within months, they said that if they don't correct things, it's going to be just all free for all, like chaos and
Well,
shit.
I heard uh, with China, I always heard that their economy was like it wasn't like
It's
perfect.
communism.
It's
That's why.
communism, but the housing thing or this property shit that they have a deal with, I just know when people don't pay, I know banks get fucked and then the government owns it. So I don't think they have enough money to cover all that if people stop paying. Like if everybody stop paying their mortgage here, like the banks are in fucking trouble. The way we know the banking system works, I don't know if it works the same way in China. I'm assuming that it does. I mean, that's that a lot of there's like a lot of people not paying their mortgage because they're like, you guys ain't giving us our houses. Uh, we paid. You telling us to keep paying when we ain't getting shit in return. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. And like, yeah, it's something to keep an eye out for.
And then you got the Middle East. I don't know if you heard about this. There's a new thing that just happened. They're trying to they're trying to like amp up this project where they're gonna build this like really long like wall kind of thing that people are gonna live inside of. That's like it's building more like higher ground, like high levels, where people live on top of each other and like this. They're making it seem like it's a utopian existence, but really it's the whole Great Reset, pretty much saying you're gonna own nothing and you're gonna love it, and it's BS obviously, but they're trying to hype it up like it's gonna be the next big thing, and it's gonna be in the Middle East where they're gonna build like these sustainable, affordable houses, but all located in one central location. So it's like imagine living like if you're in a spaceship or something, but it's on ground. Obviously, it's like this long strip of land that you're gonna build high rise, and then everyone's gonna live in there, and they're all gonna have sustainable water and solar panels and all this shit. But it's just like it doesn't seem realistic. It seems like it's like communism. Like they promise you all this shit, but none of that's gonna really happen because you need like the things that we have here. You need capitalism. You need somebody willing to do something and willing to get paid for it.
No, yeah, man. I mean, I grew up with the rules of communism. Apparently, a lot of the newer that Z and even millennials, they didn't live under the threat of communism, and all they see is free, free, free. But somebody always pays for that, and I don't think they understand when you get free shit exactly what that means. Like, yeah, it's gonna be free, but it's gonna be basic, basic, basic bullshit, and then you're gonna be like, you need all this other stuff, and then they're like, yeah, go see that guy over there, and it's gonna take forever because there's a lot of motherfuckers waiting to see him because ain't no one paying them. But yeah, man, it's let us know what you guys think about that with the mutants, China. the Russians. Let us know your thoughts on that, because the world is changing rapidly, and you got to stay on top of this, because ultimately, I think this is going to impact us all financially and economically with this connected world that we live in. I mean, like, you read stats, how much shit we bring in from China, down to medicines, to appliances, um, just clothing, it's electronics. It's kind of fucked up, and if something happens over there, it's going to have an impact on us. Not immediately, but that supply chain issues that we've been running into the last couple months, for those people who work in infrastructure and manufacturing, that's starting to they're starting to feel the impact. But that's all the time we got, everybody. We want to thank you for listening. Remember to follow Freeform Network on Facebook and Twitter at Freeform Network. Also, send your questions and suggestions to ffnquestions@gmail.com. Visit our webpage, freeformnetwork.podbean.com. There you see the links on the many platforms that we're on. We got so many that we can't keep up, but iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube. There's so many, I don't even know no more, but there the links are there. No matter how you listen to us, how you consume us, make sure you like and subscribe and write a comment, because that helps us out immensely. And of course, we like seeing that, and that makes me happy. I don't know about Danny. He could be a grump sometimes.
Yep.
Subscribe and hit that like button. For Freeform Radio, let me start with Freeform Radio. We got Danny.
Yes, sir. Everybody go out there and hug somebody, man. Spread some love.
We got Noel.
Hey, everyone, thank you for listening. We appreciate you, and take care of yourselves.
And it's all good, Andy. We want to thank you all for listening. And remember to tell your friends about us, and we'll catch you next time.
That was cool, Dad.